Good morning, Saturday morning. I've got my favorite blue velvet jumpsuit on. It's kind of Saturday morning vibes, getting myself all warmed up and ready to go. Good morning, good morning. As you come in, say good morning. Let me know, is it Saturday morning for you or is it Friday night? Where are you? It is a time when we are probably going to be thinking about adding in a few extra yummies. It's a Friday night, we get to celebrate. There might be a few extra things coming into our diets or drinking, or and it is a time when self-sabotage can really come into play in full force. So I'm excited to share. Jennifer Powter today is coming in to talk about that, and I'm going to be talking about procrastination. And these are the two things that typically are really stopping us from achieving the goals that we set and creating the life that we want to create. So I'm excited to be doing this. Good morning, Monica. It is lovely to see you Saturday morning. Love this outfit. So do I. I bought this in a secondhand store in Los Angeles, and it just brings back the most fabulous memories. Um, I yeah, I don't know how far back I can go. It is literally a velvet jumpsuit, and it is so fun to wear. It always makes me feel good. It gives me those weekend vibes. Good morning, Margaret. Good morning, Janet. So I thought while we wait for the official kickoff time, I wanted to just do a little reset, as I like to do every morning. It's like, what have we been talking about? Let's get it back in our heads so that all the little pieces of the puzzle start to line up, and we can, it starts to make sense, and we can use them. What's working, what's not working, what's in the gap. And of course, what are we procrastinating on, which I'm going to jump into in a minute. But let's think about it. Day one, we had, good morning, Liz. Mwah, it's lovely to see you, darling. Let's think about day one. We had Dr. Diana Kirshner came in and talked to us about our diamond self. So if you remember, we did that fabulous visualization with her where she took us through thinking about our highest self, the self that is not serving us, and really that exploding, blowing that person up. Good morning, Judy. It's lovely to see you. What did you take away from that? Is there something from that conversation that you've used? Have you thought about the visualization again? Good morning, Liz. It's lovely to see you, darling. Is there something that you took away from Dr. Diana Kirshner's interview that you've been able to go on and use? Or is there an opportunity to go back and do a little reset and think about it? What would serve you from that conversation? And then, of course, we had Deborah came in and talked to us about movement and making sure that we are, getting physically stronger in our bodies, doing the right movements for us inside this midlife chapter. Is there something that you've added in? Let me know. Have you taken action on these things? I know we've had the gorgeous Carly Pinwell said that she was inspired to go and take out a new gym membership. I know we had Fiona was in here. She was talking about she'd done some extra exercises. I'm just trying to think. There was a few comments. Hey, good morning, Janet. What have you actually taken from this beautiful, there's a term that I heard a long time ago that it just keeps springing into mind because I think it's particularly fabulous. It's a bit crude, but this constant consumption of information and listening, and it gets us all excited in the moment. It's a little bit like mental masturbation. And it really is that, you tune in, you listen, it's like, gosh, that's a good idea. I'm going to do that. And then our normal daily life just rolls on and it just slides past, and we're going to come back to it. We're going to think about it. We feel like thinking about it is making a change, but it's actually not. So what are the things that you're putting into action? And then Kat came in and talked to us about decluttering. Such a powerful thing. And it's not, we, of course, decluttering our physical environment is amazing. And with the weekend here, it's a perfect time to really just pick our spot and decluttering. Who's decluttered something? I know we had some comments coming in. There was a countertop, there was some kitchen decluttering that happened. There's a few different things. Good morning, Megan. Working on gratitude and how I react to things that are happening around me. Oh, so powerful, Megan. Well done. So that was Kat. And then, of course, Kylie came in and talked to us about nutrition and food and how to think about the foods that we're eating to support happy hormones. Is there a different, was there something different that you've done with your diet since listening to that? And then, of course, yesterday, the divine Kim Morrison, who is always one of my favorite speakers, experts. She's such a wealth of information. Was talking to us about essential oils and her daily rituals, habits that she does in her life. Decluttered your whole house ready for auction today. Oh my gosh, Janet, that is amazing. That is such a monumental thing. I remember when we sold our farm, I raised my kids for about 7 years. We had a beautiful flower farm. It was amazing, but it's incredible how much stuff you accumulate, and the more space you have, the more stuff you accumulate. And trying to get all that, we did well in the sale, but it was conditional that it was a 30-day sale. Can you imagine packing up a farm in getting out in 30 days? It was hectic. It was so, my hat's off to you, Janet. That's a massive undertaking, getting a house ready for sale. So they're the things that, that we have talked about. And of course, to support that, I've been giving you lots of mindset trainings and how to think about, what we focus on, our energy becoming that expanded version rather than contracted and trying to hang on. How do we relax our nervous systems, think about what we want to focus on, and setting, goals for ourselves, setting your intention inside this. Massive downsizing. My goodness, 14 years. Yeah, I can just imagine. So there has been so much inside the first 5 days, and now of course we're on day 6. There's a lot in there, and it's not that I want to encourage you to try and do everything, but when you came into this challenge, there was something. It is setting that intention, being clear on what you're wanting to achieve. Then we can actually help you get across the finish line. And every time you do that, your confidence to do more will grow. So they're the main things. And I really would love people to let me know, have you had a favorite presenter so far? Was there one thing that you've heard that was like, oh my goodness? Yesterday I talked about that decision to either just be in the stream and you just float along. Thanks. Oh, yeah, Liz. So that decision to just float along and go with the flow versus deciding to plant your feet firmly on the ground and decide your direction, to be back in control of your life. Is that something that worked for you? I know I got a lot of feedback about the analogy that I use with planning a wedding and having that exciting, compelling vision for the life that you want to create, not just one day, but this life that you want to create. The way that you want to show up on, if we use that wedding analogy, you decide how you want to show up on that day. You set the intention to be full of joy and celebration and love and excitement for the future. You decide what you're going to wear because you want to feel the most beautiful you can possibly feel. You decide the health and vitality you're going to have and you work on it. You decide who you want to be surrounded by, the people that are going to celebrate you, and lift you up and hold you to the vision that you have for your marriage, for the life that you want to create. You decide the car you're going to be in, you decide the food you're going to be eating, you decide the location you're going to be in, all these details. And we get to apply that to our lives. So what is there something? Let me know in the comments. What is something that you have heard in the first 5 days? Because yesterday we're over the halfway mark. So it is important. Whilst I don't want you living your life looking in the rearview mirror, I want you looking forward. But taking time to reflect on what we've learned actually gives you pause to go, what are the things that I want to concentrate on? What's in the, like, where am I wanting to go? What's in the gap? What are the things that I continue to do that are stopping me from achieving what I want to achieve? Talking about stress and adrenal fatigue, poster chart for what happens if you keep going. Fantastic, Donna. So I hope that you have taken something away from these first 5 days that can serve you with that. Because yes, adrenal fatigue is very, very real, and it is a massive thing that a lot of people don't actually realize what's happening. If it is to be, it's up to me. Yes. Oh, yes. If you take one thing away from this challenge, I would love it to be that for everybody. Good morning. Good morning. So today I really want to talk to you about procrastination. So there are these two things, and I sent an email out to thousands of women in my community earlier in the year, asking them what the number one frustration is in their lives. And there is a good chance that a lot of people in here got that email. What you focus on expands. Absolutely. So the feedback that I got from that was overwhelmingly procrastination and self-sabotage, procrastination being number one. So if this is something that you struggle with, first and foremost, know that you are not alone. Know that you're not alone. The second thing is to understand that it is a habit. Now, when something is, if you put I am before something, you call it into being. You make it part of your identity. So today I want you to decide and commit to never putting I am in front of procrastinating or I am a procrastinator. It is simply a habit that I want to give you the tools today to learn how to break. And then Jennifer's going to be coming in and talking to us about self-sabotage, which is, they're fairly tied in. No fault, blame, guilt, shame. Absolutely, Janet, you've been listening to me for a while. So it is about absolutely no fault, blame, guilt, shame. This is something just that we get to recognize how it is stopping you from becoming the woman that you want to become, from creating the life that you want to create, and the effects that it's having. So let's first and foremost look at the fact that the complaints that we hear so often and the things that we want to change are a lack of self-worth, a lack of confidence. How many times have I heard women say to me, I just want to feel more confident? Anxiety is rife across the globe. We are seeing more and more and more of it, and depression. And I'm here to tell you and to shine a loving spotlight on the fact that we are missing a number one habit and behavior that is feeding all these things, and that is procrastinating. So every time you declare you're going to do something, start something on Monday, this weekend I will, and you don't do it, you are undermining your confidence in yourself. You are reducing your sense of self-worth. You are exacerbating anxiety and feeding depression. And these are all things that become a chronic behavior. So a chronic habit of procrastinating is feeding those things. So when you think in your mind, I wish I could stop feeling so anxious, maybe look at where you're procrastinating on something that could make a difference. Is that ringing true? I just would love people to let me know in the comments. Let me know, perhaps if there is, what is the number one thing that you've been procrastinating on, that if we could shift that today, it would make a massive difference. So it may be a mental health goal, it may be a physical health goal, it may be something as, just getting out and moving your body more. It may be a love goal, like a relationship goal. Is there a hard conversation that you get to have with a significant other, with a child, with a friend? Is it just picking up the phone and calling a friend that you haven't spoken to for ages? And maybe there's some awkwardness around that because the phone call should have happened a while ago, or you forgot a birthday, or whatever it is. Allow yourself to be human and reconnect. Is it a wealth goal? Is there I can put my hand up for this. Oh my goodness. Every time I've got to look at books or anything to do with doing my BAS or accounting, it's just like I will find anything that is more important than doing that. That is something that I've had to hire somebody to keep me accountable for that. Otherwise, the procrastination is just becomes, really, I get that anxiety and all the emotions that go with it. So, is there a wealth goal in there that you're procrastinating on? Starting an exercise program. So today we're going to support you to commit to doing something to get you out of procrastination on that. Health, wealth, time. Okay, so time for the things that matter. Where are you procrastinating on making time for something that matters to you? There is always time. As women, as mothers, we make time for everybody else, but not for ourselves. Typically, of course, these are generalized rules, but where are you making time for yourself for something that's important? I've got my beautiful daughter Zoe, number 2 in my line of 4, is turning 21 on September. I'm so excited, and I have taken a week out in September where I am going to go up and see her and her partner, who is, I think they're 9 days apart. I keep saying 10, but it's actually 9 days apart. It's his 21st as well. So we're going to Early Beach. I think I actually had somebody in here that said she was from Early Beach. And yeah, I'm going up. I actually haven't taken a week out of my work during, this particular time for a long time. And it was like, I don't know if I can do it, all this stuff. But once it was booked in, it was that feeling, not procrastinating on it, not trying to work out how I could make it happen. I just booked it in, and then the solutions arise. And I've got my fabulous VA, Gia, who's she's in the background of all this stuff, who gets to support and keep things running in the background of my business while I'm away. So procrastinating perfection stops me from doing all kinds of things, and then I get so anxious that they're not done, and it escalates. Absolutely. So I want to say so normal, but it's, and it is normal because there's so many of us do this. In fact, I think we all do it in different areas. But what I want to do this morning is give you the tools to recognize when it comes up, and then to go, okay, I know how to pull myself out of this. So I've got a 3-step process that I give people to, and I get pen and paper, write it down, to get people out of procrastination. So when you get that feeling of, there's a couple of things that can come up. It's that feeling of like, oh, I just feel so stuck. It's stuck in a rut. And then the other thing that we say is, why do I keep doing this? It's that sense of frustration. Why the if do I keep doing this? Why do I keep stopping myself from, there's that self-sabotaging thing, which Jen's going to talk to us about shortly. But procrastinating, why do I keep procrastinating and not doing this thing? So here's my 3-step process. Hard conversations in business, but not personally. Absolutely, Spalding. It takes great courage to pick up the phone and shift that energy that is around difficult conversations. But so important that we find the support to do that and the courage. So let me give you my 3-step formula for doing this. First and foremost, you have to have a clear, measurable goal. So as long as it's just kind of floating around in a vague sense in your mind, it's not going to happen. And we can procrastinate and we do other things instead of. So what I want you to do now is, with your pen and paper, write down a clear, measurable goal. So a couple of things that I'm seeing in here this morning is starting an exercise program. Okay, so what I encourage you to do is say, today, before I go to bed, I am going to. So, or even make it even better. I don't know what time zone you're in, but by 5 o'clock tonight or by 9 p.m. tonight, I am going to. So what is an exercise program? I'm going to get out my exercise ball and do 10 minutes of something. I am going to go for a walk around the block. I don't care if that's 10 minutes, 5 minutes, half an hour, commit. When are you going to do it by? How long are you going to do it for? And what are you going to do? I am going to go for a walk for 10 minutes by 5 o'clock tonight. And what did I say? So it's the walk, it's by when, and for how long. Write it down. You've got to have that clear, measurable goal. Do some of the flip exercises. Fantastic. Great. That's Deborah's download. Really cool. So if anybody hasn't got the gifts that our speakers have been given, there's a post in the Facebook group where they're all in one place, and I'm also sending them out to you via email every day. So those of you on YouTube, if you haven't got them or you can't work out how to access them, leave a comment in there and I'll come in after and make sure that I've got you sorted. So just let me know. Okay, so hard conversations, Spalding, an awesome one. Who's the person? Who is the person that you get to have this hard conversation with? Write their name down. When are you going to call them by or make a time to catch up with them by? And what is you can actually write down, what is the thing that needs addressing? What is the hard conversation that you get to have? And we can tie this back. Earlier in the week, I was talking about, that if it is to be, it's up to me, that personal responsibility. If we want the relationships in our lives to go from being at a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to a 10, then it's up to us. We get to take responsibility for the quality of the relationships that we have in our life. So I encourage you to write that down. What else was there in there? Hard conversations, exercise. What have I missed, guys? Tell me. I'm just going back through. Donna, you were talking about adrenal fatigue. Is there something in there that you've been procrastinating on that's going to help you to get your health back on track? Or maybe maybe it already is, but there's just something that you get to put in place to support you not to go back to that place. What is there? Is there anything else in here? Let me know if anybody is struggling with how to set a clear, measurable goal, because that is step 1. Okay. Now, step 2, which is super, super powerful, is creative visualization. So there's a number of different ways that you can do this. Of course, I'm going to talk about vision boards because they're one of the most powerful tools that I know of. It's not just woo-woo. I remember I had a doctor who was a client. She was actually a pediatric ophthalmologist in the States, and I remember when she went to do, she was a private client that I supported her to do her first vision board. And she was like, I feel like I'm back in, kind of primary school doing copy and cut and paste, creating pretty pictures. And I was like, I get it, I get it, I get it. Just trust me with the process. It's not woo-woo. There's an art and science to why we do this. It's not just a kindergarten exercise. It is super powerful. So, and she did it. And of course, she got incredible results. And I think she's gone on to keep doing them. But there's different ways to utilize creative visualization. So understand this foundation thing first. Everything in our lives is first created in the imagination. So think about, I walked you through earlier in the week, the process of thinking about the chair that you may be sitting on. That chair was first created in somebody's imagination, and then they went to work to bring it to life. So the car that you drive in, this fabulous velvet jumpsuit that I'm wearing, first started in somebody's imagination. The things in your life that you've created, there may be a level of haphazardness to it, but the reality is that we are creating everything in our minds first. Now, elite Olympic athletes use creative visualization in that they will take time to visualize the result that they're after before they actually run the race. And this is done across all sorts of high performance, whether it is in business, whether it's in, Olympic athletes, all sorts of different people. And one of my favorite things that I saw once was Ashley Graham. I don't know, does anyone know who Ashley Graham is? Morning routine, Monica, awesome. Ashley Graham is a fabulous model in the US. And I remember listening to her being interviewed, and she was on the front cover of Vogue magazine when she was pregnant with her first child in this fabulous golden gown. Did anybody see that? Let me know. But that was on her vision board. That was on her vision board, to be on the front cover of Vogue. And she, what you focus on expands, what you focus on happens. That is, she put that on her vision board and brought that to life. Now, Oprah uses vision boards, all these different, Katy Perry, and there's millions of people that use vision boards for this reason, this creative visualization. So what I want you to do, if you're procrastinating with having a hard conversation with somebody, take yourself to a quiet place and spend a few minutes thinking about the outcome, excuse me, the outcome of that conversation and what you want it to look like. It is that preparation, setting the intention, rather than just showing up and reacting to whatever gets thrown at you. If it is exercise, take the time to sit back and give yourself a few minutes to picture yourself in peak physical condition. Remember, throw your shoulders back, lift your chin, smile, expand. Like if you literally have to throw your arms back and put yourself in the physical state of feeling excited, feeling happy, feeling proud of who you are after you have done that exercise, the results that you're going to get. This is creative visualization. So set yourself a clear, measurable goal. Utilize creative visualization. The first 2 steps. Remember I said there was 3. So this is how we're overcoming procrastination. The third one is the unequivocal, most important thing that most people, I say most, forget about, and that is support and accountability. We decide that if there is a chance that we're not going to do something, we don't want to tell anybody about it, because then we fall into fault, blame, guilt, shame. Don't allow that to be something that continues to feed your habit of procrastination. Get yourself the support and accountability that you need to create the life that you want to be living. Now, this can start with, and I keep going back, there's these two things about, hard conversations and exercise are just what's come up in the comments. Forgive me if I've missed something, and definitely feel free to keep posting things in here so that I can support you more specifically if there is something that you're procrastinating on. But the support and accountability is a crucial step. So yes, there might be mindset tweaks, and we've got Jen's going to talk to us about that shortly. But where is the support and accountability that you have received when you've achieved things in your life that you feel proud of? So start to think about, that whole success leaves clues, where you've made radical changes in the past. I'm going to guess there was somebody there supporting you. So think about the things, like let's go back to school. Who would have ever handed in homework or done the work to learn the things that you needed to learn if there wasn't teachers, parents, people holding you accountable to doing the things that needed to be done so that you could learn what you needed to learn so you could be in action to create a life post school? We can apply this to anybody that's been part of a, maybe even a sporting group or a sporting team. Your team around you are holding you to show up for practice on time, to do the work, to have the fitness that you needed to have, to band together, to play the game. Whether it is in business and work, support and accountability. If I didn't have my fabulous Gia, who's here, who works on a time schedule for me as an entrepreneur, there's 24 hours in the day. I can very easily be a bit haphazard if I don't have somebody in the background that I'm accountable to. She needs things from me in order to do her job. So that's support and accountability. So where do you need support and accountability to achieve the things that you need to achieve? And if you don't have it, where can you pull that in? Where can you ask somebody for the support and accountability that you need? And sometimes, let's be honest, sometimes our girlfriends are not the person for that. Because if your goal is to stop having a glass of wine at the end of every day, or if you're trying to do a 30-day alcohol-free time or something like that, and you have a shocker of a day and everything goes to pot, and you get to 5 o'clock and decide, damn it, I deserve a glass of wine today because it has been the most crappy day I can possibly imagine. You ring your girlfriend and she's going to say what? She's going to say, of course, it's okay. You've had a crappy day. You can start again on Monday. She's probably not the person. And that is not because she doesn't love you and adore you. She wants you to feel more comfortable. She wants you to feel better. But actually having somebody that says, you can do this. What is something else that we can do together to distract you for a little while? Or what's another strategy that you can use so that you don't fall back, self-sabotage, procrastinate on doing the things that you want to do, because that is pulling you up and forward. That is the difference between getting out of that, reducing your feelings of self-worth, reducing your confidence to do the things that you want to be doing, to become the woman that you want to become. Because every time you break that word to yourself, you are pulling yourself back down into, there's a subconscious message of, it doesn't really matter. It's not important. I'm not, that self-worth conversation starts to get undermined. And then you're back to reduce feelings of self-worth, reduce confidence in yourself, increasing anxiety, increasing depression. And so what I'm asking you today is really recommit to these three things that I've just walked you through. Set yourself a clear, measurable goal. Please, please, please write it down. A clear, measurable goal. And then you utilize creative visualization. And finally, get the support and accountability that you need. So they're your three things. Apply it to the thing that you're procrastinating to. And I promise this will get you moving forward again. So, the most beautiful way to complement this conversation is to talk about how we self-sabotage. And I am so, so thrilled that today I get to introduce those that haven't met her yet to Jennifer Powter. Now, Jennifer is the founder of the Weight Loss Academy and best-selling author of The Diet Disruption. And as a weight loss and mindset expert for women over 40, she's helped thousands of women to take a truly soulful and scientific approach to weight loss and establish a solid foundation for lasting transformation. Jennifer, welcome, darling. Thank you so much for being with us.
Yay. Thanks for having me. I had a panic attack there for a moment, but I'm all sorted with tech. So yay. I'm excited to be here.
Have you used StreamYard before? It's a different one.
I have. Yeah, I love it. It's great.
Yeah, I do too. I'm really, really liking it. So thank you for being with us. I think you're on Friday night. We're on Saturday morning here.
I know. It's so good to be here. And I was just listening as I was backstage there, and oh my gosh, this is an incredible conversation to have. And it's a tough one for us women. We can unintentionally sabotage and don't even know it sometimes.
Yeah, that's right. And it is that shining that loving spotlight on stuff that we've been frustrated with forever. And I'm going to stick my hand up first and foremost. I am so, so, so excited to have this conversation with you because I've been on a diet for probably, maybe 35 years on and off. I'm a chronic back and forth. And I think being very overweight as a teenager, I'm interested in your thoughts on this, but I think my body, was kind of set up, which is a tricky one, but maybe that's just an excuse. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. But Jen, let's dive in first. Let's look at first and foremost, what is self-sabotage? Let's put it into a concrete way of thinking about it.
So I think it's really helpful to understand even the definition of the word.
Yeah.
And sabotage means to essentially take acts that deliberately destroy something from working the way it's supposed to. So deliberate acts that make something not work. When we look at self-sabotage, it's taking either consciously or subconsciously engaging in harmful acts so that you sabotage your life, so that your life does not work according to your plans, goals, dreams, etc. And so we wonder why we get so frustrated as we're on this journey of trying to reach our goals or have aspirations or what to do when we get frustrated. And yet we don't even know. And that conscious subconscious part's really tricky because why would we sabotage something that we want? Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is where it was where we have to shine the light. And I love that you said in a loving way, because so often women do this in a way of judgment, criticism, punishment, not good enough, less than, and that's never going to help cure the root of it.
Yeah, no. And I know, I can hear myself saying, why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep doing this over and over again? And I'm sure that other people can relate to that feeling. It's super frustrating and it's bewildering. But there's programming that we've, created through habits, through messages we've received from, loving parents or whoever it might have been in our past. But we get to just kind of start peeling that back a bit. Peeling that back today. So I think, you talk about the idea that we can be focusing on the wrong thing. We're desperately trying to fix a problem, but it might be the wrong thing that we're focusing on. Can we dive in there?
Yeah, I'd love to. So often my clients or the women I work with come to me and the problem is their weight, right? The problem let's go to the visceral thing, the thing that we can see, the thing that we think we need to fix. And yet so often that's just a symptom of something below it. So weight's really interesting because Well, because it's visible, right? We can see it. There's a measure of it. We can
Yeah,
tell if we're getting bigger or smaller, and it's really hard to hide weight. So it's
yeah,
visible to everybody else too, which can have some hints of embarrassment or shame, whatever the internal story is around it. And
yeah,
I think that we can go after trying to micromanage a diet or the food all day long. But if
yeah,
we don't understand how it is that we became overweight in the first place, or
mm,
why it is we engage in harmful acts of overeating or binging, well, then we're never getting to the root problem. So I always say it's the thing, but it's the
yeah,
thing under the thing that we've got to figure out.
yeah,
And then the food can become easy. Because so many women say, I just want to never think about this again. I never want to have to worry about this. I stress and obsess about food all the time.
yep,
But usually there's more internal stuff going on here and here that is driving our behavior, and the weight is the outcome.
yeah. And I think for so many of us, we really tie self-worth to the number on the scales.
Oh, yeah. We
That
do.
Yeah, and so how do we start to address that? Where do we look? If we're not looking at the number on the scales, where are we looking?
Well, I think it's always helpful. Like when I take a look at for anything in my life. Like, I mean, listen, let me just put this out there. Like, I was the biggest person to feel like a fraud. Like, here I was, if you know my story, it was not that long ago, 10 years ago, well, 12 years ago, and I was at my heaviest. And I had a master's degree in this, you guys. Like, I had studied, I had done marathons, Ironmans. I mean, I had never understood what it felt like. And then here I was, lonely, tired, stressed about my, parents who were sick,
Yeah,
unhappy in a marriage. And so like many of us, we're wired to escape pain, right? Emotional pain, physical pain. We want to do anything to get rid of the pain. And so food and alcohol can be very
mhm,
easy numbing agents that just
yeah,
give you that moment of distraction or
yeah,
relief, or you just don't want to think about it. But
mm,
then you think about it again the next night and the next night or the next day and the next morning. And so I think that's where we have to really start to get at, like, go under the hood and go, okay, well,
yeah,
what is self-sabotage and what are all the ways? How is it all interconnected with,
mm,
I call it the family of self-sabotage, and to really dissect those things.
yeah,
And if I can share the first one, that I was heavily engaged in, it was self-criticism. Another
mm,
way to talk about that, it's that horrible voice that's inside your head
mhm,
that says the meanest of mean things to you, things you would never say out loud to another human being. So things like, oh, you're such a loser, you're a total failure, you're so stupid, everyone thinks so, no one likes you, why would you even bother? You've always failed, you can
mm,
never do that, why would you think? And you can listen to his voice all day long. And the more that you listen to it and you start to identify with it, the more you can start to believe it as your truth.
yeah,
But it's not.
yeah, yeah. And I think about it in terms of self-soothing. It's
Yeah.
just that, how can I replace if, I have a bit of a joke with my kids, if that conversation about if you found yourself on a desert island, you could take one food. What would it be? And mine's potato. Anything that involves hot potato chips,
Yeah.
baked potatoes, anything to do with potatoes. And it's a self-soothing thing that we reach for. Yes, alcohol is a big one, but food, I think for most women, food is the predominant one that we reach for.
And I think it's because most of us don't know what else to do. I mean,
Yeah.
like, let's be honest, we're not taught. I mean, unless you're involved in events like this, or you've been lucky to have parents who are engaged in personal development, or you got
Mm,
exposed really early to uh workshop something. It's a
yeah,
lot of us, it's no surprise that it's in our midlife that we're like learning about this and seeking a deeper understanding of ourself and
yeah.
why we do what we do. And for me, one of the biggest patterns was, again, directly related to self-sabotage was self-betrayal. And how that
Mm,
shows up is lying to myself. It's saying one thing, doing another. I'm not gonna eat that. I'm not gonna drink that. Oh, it's okay. Go ahead, eat and drink it.
yeah,
The white lies we tell ourselves, oh, it's okay. I'll start again on Monday. It doesn't really matter right now. And then I'll worry about it next week, next month, next year. And decades of your life can pass by
yeah,
when you're engaged in self-betrayal. And
yeah,
it's that constant negotiating. And I think for the busy women or the sandwich generation, or You can become very, very clever at making your excuses and your rationalizations sound so smart. Like they're so believable. So then we'd let ourselves off the hook and we tell ourselves it's okay, but then we don't trust ourselves. And I mean, imagine if that was a relationship with somebody else. How healthy would your relationship be?
Mm. Oh, absolutely.
It wouldn't be.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, I think if we think about, that is that health conversation, and I think one of the things that serves me really well is to take the conversation away from the aesthetics of weight, because
Yeah.
yes, it is, of course it's important to all of us to feel beautiful, but if we can attach weight more to a health conversation and the other implications of carrying too much weight, particularly as we get into midlife and beyond, the consequences of carrying too much weight really start to amplify. So if we think about it in that way, what is how does all of this really impact women's health?
Oh, carrying extra weight or more weight than you want to on your body or what's healthy for your body is so damaging psychologically and
Mm,
physiologically. And I
mm,
think we know that. If anybody has gone to a doctor recently and you are overweight and the doctor suggests you should lose, hypertension, high, diabetes, cholesterol, metabolic syndrome. I mean, I think every woman out there, lots of my clients anyways, come to me after a health scare, a recent
mm,
diagnosis or A1, sugar levels are high and or their knees are sore, they're achy, they can't walk without getting out of breath anymore. Like at some point, the extra weight, like you say, it's not about vanity. It's I want to be able to live my life.
yes.
Like, I don't wanna just sit on the couch and watch TV every night and do
Mm,
nothing or not play with my kid or my grandkids,
mm,
or I can't travel because I can't fit in a seat, or I can't even
mm,
came from a resort and you had to be able to walk a lot there, and I just thought of my mom, like, she wouldn't have been able to. And she could
mm,
have, if she had taken care of her health earlier, she could have changed the complete trajectory of her life and
yeah.
the quality of her existence. And I think where women get stuck is they don't know how. If you're not on a diet, what do you do? And dieting in the typical sense is so emotionally hard, physiologically,
Mm,
destructive if you
mm,
go to some of those very extreme tactics, which many women do, because let's face it, if
mm,
you're overweight, you want the weight gone like yesterday. You're like,
mhm,
I'll do whatever it takes, like just like get it off me. So those hard, quick, fast approaches are very seductive, highly marketable, and don't work. Anybody who's done one, you lose the weight and you gain back more, or you gain it back and
mm,
more within a month or two. So
mm,
I think, we can have we know the value of our health. It's if we're not on a diet, what do we do? Rock in a hard place. But there
yeah.
is a way. There is a way.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I think, we do carry on. I think so many of us can look at our mothers and see their behaviors and see where we're starting to repeat them. And for those of us with children, particularly with daughters, we get to consider how we're going to break this kind of chain reaction. Because I look at my mum and she's about to turn 88, and I think she's been on a diet for, 70 of those years probably, on and off, and it is a constant conversation. It
Yeah.
is still a constant conversation, and I've absorbed all that. And for the women that are listening to this, and for your story, by the sounds of things with your mum, we absorb all this, and then we create these patterns and these habits.
Yeah.
So let's give people some concrete sort of steps and ideas and things to take away from this, that they can start putting into action if they're recognizing these self-sabotaging behaviors that are coming up. What are some action steps, or some, is there things that they can write down to start implementing and thinking about things differently?
I think this is the hardest part. I think you have to be willing to get
Mm,
really real and really vulnerable with yourself, really honest. And for me, I in my books, I talk about my God moment, the moment when I knew I
yeah.
could not continue. It was like, I am on this path and I hate it and I got to get off of it. And if you have that inkling or your intuitive hits of like, this is not okay, you've got to really trust your wisdom. And I think with self sabotage, I'm going to go back again to another direct connector, which is for many women, we can get into periods of decades of self-abandonment.
Yeah.
And you got to understand when, where, and how you
Mm,
do it. And that's self-abandonment's a strange concept because it's like, how do you abandon yourself? You're always with yourself, but you do it through people pleasing, believing in the mythological concept of perfectionism. That if you can't do it perfect, don't do it at all. If you can't follow a meal plan perfectly, don't do it at all. If you can't, and all or none, on a wagon, off a wagon. And I think on the deeper level, it's you've got to start to ask yourself, what do you truly need and want? Because
mm,
many of us, and myself is, I'm certainly included in this camp, grew up with unmet needs and wants.
mhm,
And so my story was, well, what's the point of having any? They're not going to get met anyway. So might as well just not even recognize what I need and want and just try to please others and get my love from others. And maybe then I'll be enough. And
mm,
so we have to do that work at a very foundational level to go, no, who you are matters, what you want matters, what you need is important for you to recognize and to act from that place as opposed to, I want to weigh a certain weight. It's deeper than the
yeah,
weight. It's
yeah,
about really, I always say it's like we got to go back and collect pieces of ourselves that we amputate off along the way in order to fit in or be a good mom or be a good wife or be a good daughter or be a good sister. And we're trying to be all these roles. And yet you've forgotten that you're a woman. Like
yeah,
you're you beyond your roles.
yeah.
What's going on, right? So, I'm a big fan of journaling. We laugh in our community because I tell you, if I could listen to myself talk 15 years ago, 20 years ago, I'd be rolling my eyes right now and being like, oh, journaling, I don't have time to journal. Journaling
Yeah.
doesn't work. And
Yeah.
yes, it does. If
Yes.
you think that you don't like journaling, you're exactly the person who should be journaling because unless you're getting the stuff in here
Yeah.
onto paper, you're living in mental emotional
Yeah.
chaos.
Yeah.
And that's the work.
Yeah. And
So
it
that's a
is.
long answer to your question,
Yeah.
Edwina, but
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. And I attest to that. And when you take things out of the thought process and actually have to physically put it down on paper,
yes.
if you write a simple, I mean, I'd love you to give us a simple journal question, but, I would say, who am I? Who am I? Or who do I want to be? If I was at my, the highest version of me, how would I feel? How would I look? What would I do? What would I have? Just start. If you take that out of the um, the cloudiness that is thinking and put it down, you've actually got to put it on paper. It is extraordinary what comes out. Have you got favorite journal questions that you give people?
I really do. That's one of my gifts is being able, depending on who I'm talking to, is I kind of
Mm,
know what their thing is, and for me, I started journaling with morning pages, right? Every day, just a lot of times starting for 3 minutes. And it was, I don't know what I really
mm,
want to write about today, but the thing that I'm going to talk about or the thing that's on my mind is, and then I would just start.
yeah.
But what I found, these are some of my most favorites. And they go something like this. The thing that I'm secretly afraid to admit is if I could just do 5% better than what I'm doing right now, here's what I would do.
Yeah.
If I could make one small change in my life that would make me happy, this is what it would be. Because I think our brain, and I guess this is from weight loss, if you have 30, 50, 60, 70, 80 pounds that you want to lose, the journey seems so big, so daunting. Like it's going to take so long that we can kind of put it off.
Yeah.
And if you haven't been able to have time to spend thinking about yourself or your life,
Yeah.
going to what's my highest vision? It's like forever.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't even know how I like my eggs. I just
Yeah.
eat the eggs I cook for everybody else, right? Like, and so I think those little sneaky ways of entering, you kind of bypass that inner critic because
Yeah.
that inner critic can come in so quickly, and you start to write down a dream, and it's like, oh, why would you even want that? And
Mm.
you're like, oh, I guess that's stupid. I'll cross it out. So,
Yeah.
5% better, one thing differently
Yeah.
are really great ways to start writing.
Yeah. I love the one thing. What's the one thing?
Mhm.
That's really helpful. And if I can just really bullet point or ground in what I'm hearing from you. It is not so much the food or the diet or the thing, it's the mindset and how we think about it is really the piece that we get to focus on. It is the piece that needs our attention, is the conversation that's rolling around in here, and our mindset around achieving the things that we want to achieve, or why, looking at why we're self-sabotaging or procrastinating. So it's the mindset stuff. And I think when we are looking for solutions, it is so easy to look for the next diet or the next perfect exercise regime or the next perfect morning routine, or then, you know, there's all this kind of doing stuff that is coming at us, and it's probably the things that are pulling us off course from what's going to make the difference. And it is that mindset and how we think about things. I would love to ask you, there's a lot of talk, you know, if I look at what is currently trending in conversations around this at the moment, it's intuitive eating. And I think that that's an interesting one. What are your thoughts around intuitive eating, Jen?
Oh boy, some people are gonna love and hate this answer at the same
Yeah.
time here. So let's get here. So
Good.
here's the real deal. And this is why I think there's so much success in the work with my clients, is because there is absolutely this psychological, this mindset piece, but then there's this also very scientific, physiological piece about how much food does your body need? How much food does my body need? And I can meditate, see an emotional, go do EMDR, sit and pray, and I can get emotionally healthier. But if I keep eating physiologically in a way that's beyond my budget, I'm never going to lose weight.
Yep.
Right? I can also
Yep.
try to micromanage my food and do all these diety things and exercise and work out like a fiend. But if I am constantly triggered emotionally and binge eat, or by Thursday say screw it and I give up for 4 days and start again, well, I'm never going to lose weight. And so intuitive eating, I think when you're at your goal weight, or when you're living comfortably in your own skin and you understand your body, and you also are intuitively connected to yourself, your real self, I think intuitive eating is great. In the beginning, intuitive eating, I think, is terrible, because as long as you've been masking or numbing yourself to your emotions, your intuition, just like mine, when I was stressed or sad, it would be like, you need a cookie. My intuition would tell me to go drink a glass of wine, or I would feel like my intuition was guiding me to go eat something, but actually that was just my desire to escape pain. And so I think we've got to be very careful about, like, I had somebody who did intuitive eating for a year and she gained 60 pounds. Right. So, and some people are going to have cases where, yes, but I began and then I did this deep work and I began to intuitively eat and I paid attention to my body. Well, chances are they were doing a lot of other work on themselves at the same time. So if you're doing it in concert with these other, understanding the roots of emotional eating, understanding your triggers, your trauma, how you want to self-soothe, then there can be a great benefit to it. But in the beginning, if you don't understand that, it can sometimes do more harm than good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that answer is absolutely perfect, because we've got hormones that when we're overweight that are out of balance, our ghrelin. I used to talk about my full button was broken. So we would, be at Christmas lunch and people around me are like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm going to explode. And I would say it, but I wasn't actually feeling it because my leptin sensitivity was out of whack. I could eat and eat and eat and eat, and I never felt full. It had nothing to do with whether I'd had enough food or not. So we have hormones when we're overweight that are out of whack. So if you're eating intuitively, it's not going to work. And also we have foods that we're highly addicted to. There are so many foods in our environment now that are highly, highly addictive. So you may be believing that intuitively you need more bread or you need more sugar or you need these things that are actually giving you a feel-good hit, but intuitively it's your things that are out of whack. So, my dog's going to go off in the background. So I think that answer is really powerful, Jen. Thank you. And I hope that that people are hearing that. Yes, when everything is balanced and we're at our healthiest and everything is good, we can rely a bit more on that intuitive.
And I think it's a skill. Like I'm at the same weight I've been at for 10 years now. My fluctuations vary. And this is true literally after just coming back from being away at an all-inclusive for 8 days.
Mm,
And like I could tell my body, it was like it's a free for all for food and
mm,
booze at these places. And
mm.
I literally like I just couldn't even like it, and my body was telling me and giving me overt signals of you're done, you're full, you're complete, that's enough. And I have the ability to pay attention. And so a lot of times I think we've overridden that, or the emotional pain is so great. We seek such distraction from it that we override that intuition to just do what we want to do to get relief in the moment.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Jen, I know you've got a beautiful gift for our audience to support them in getting into action in some of the things that you've been talking about. Would you take a second to let them know what that is?
Yeah, I'd love to. So it's a free copy of my second book, Stop Sabotaging Your Weight Loss. So this is why you do it and how to fix it. If you're finding that this conversation, you're like, this is what I do, I don't understand, then what's in these pages can really perhaps let you know, A, you're not alone.
Yeah,
Other women have gone through this, or the stories, the case studies you can find yourself on the pages. And so, yeah, I'm more than happy to gift that, the free PDF. And of course, you can get it on Audible. I just can't gift that. I'm not that connected to the powers that be. But if you like audiobooks, it's there as well.
oh, I love audiobooks. Did you narrate it? Did you
I
read it?
did. I narrated both of them. Hardest thing I've ever done, by the way. But yes, you will get sick of my voice. If it is, I did narrate it, and it was quite fun to do it. Well, the end
Yeah,
product was fun.
yeah, fantastic. And I just want to ask, I think, there's people in here that there's self-sabotaging behaviors that are going on, but it's not necessarily tied to weight. And I'm guessing that within your books, the tools and the methods to stop self-sabotaging are going to apply pretty much across the board. Would that be fair?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like when you start to take a look at it, just change weight to be whatever it is. You might self-sabotage in relationships. You might self-sabotage your career.
Mm,
You may blow up your life. And like we all, it's like pick your thing.
yeah.
Yeah, I've certainly engaged in self-sabotage in like numerous areas of my life because I had to keep getting the lesson to figure it out.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, somebody said that this book should be called Stop Sabotaging Your Life. I thought that was a pretty big title, but
Yeah.
um, I live and learn every day. And I think the thing is that we don't permanently fix this. We're human beings. We have tendencies. It's about our awareness and recommitting to the practice
Yeah.
of understanding ourselves and just doing a little bit better every
Yeah.
moment, every day, every month. Because
Yeah.
if we put all those moments together, we can actually change significantly in the
Mm,
course of half a year or a year or
mm,
10 years. If we don't pay attention at all, then we can be in the exact same place 20 years from now because we haven't taken those little micro moments of
yeah.
change.
Yeah, and it is about recognizing it, rather than the why do I keep doing this? It's like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I know why I'm doing it. Now I know how to kind of shift things so I don't stay in this place for weeks, months, years, and just can move forward. And that's the beauty of us getting older. There's got to be so many benefits, and this is one of the big ones. We're a bit older, which means we're a heck of a lot wiser, and we get to move forward the way we want to. Getting back that sense of control.
Yeah, it's super special time of life, hey?
Yeah, it
Like, it
is.
really is, and I think if women can embrace it, like, and feel good about this next half or this next third or however the next chapter, last however you term it, like, call it, I think it's really sacred and special, and there's
Yeah.
so much to access, but it
Yes.
starts now. It starts with going, "Okay, what's really going on in here, in here?
Yeah.
I wanna start to figure it out."
Yeah. So beautiful. And I think how to stop self-sabotaging every area of your life is a next book, Jen. I'm
Yeah, it's on the docket. I'm getting ready for my next one, so,
fantastic. It's been an absolute delight, and you've just given us so much to think about and so much value. Thank you for your time, Jen. I truly appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for this event and for everybody watching, listening. I hope that you hear the one thing you needed to hear.
Yeah. Jen, I don't believe you're in the Facebook group. If
Oh,
you wanted to jump in, please, I'll send you a little link so you can just jump straight in. If people have got questions for
yeah.
Jen, please, there's a lot of people we've got, it's global, so everybody's watching at different times. We've got a lovely group on live, but there are always people that come in after and watch the replay. So if you've got
Oh,
questions for Jen, when her precious time permits, I'm sure she'll come in and answer them, and just leave them in the comment section.
absolutely. I would love to. I think I missed it. I was looking for the link because I think I missed it when I was in Mexico. So I will be in there and just tag me if you have a
Yeah,
question. There's a lot we can do, and we don't need to do it all in one day, right? There's just like sometimes those little questions are great. So thank you for that.
yeah, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for being
Great.
with us, honey. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, beautiful women. That's it for today. We've got our Saturday morning. I'm off to the farmer's market. I don't know what everybody else is up to, but really, I would love you just to take away from this. It's just one tiny action step to get out of that procrastination, to get out of self-sabotaging. Just start with the first one step, that one next best step for you. And of course, thinking about the clear, measurable goals, the creative visualization, and getting the support and accountability that you need is all going to be unpacked inside ENLIVEN, which is my vision board workshop that's going to be happening from the 5th of September. It's just incremental steps over a week. I'm going to be there to help you create those clear, measurable goals for your health, wealth, time, and love. I'm going to be there to support you every step of the way, and you'll end up with this beautiful creative visualization tool. So if you want to join, Gia's just dropped the link in there, and all you need to do is jump in, get yourself signed up, and that starts on the 5th of September. All right, wishing everybody a beautiful, beautiful start to your weekend, and I will see you all tomorrow. Mwah! So much love, and bye for now.